Hello there. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Okay. Um, I understand that this is we are using Demio platform, and to be really honest, it's not something that I'm very used to, and I believe many of us are kind of like a frequent community webinar joiner here. So please bear with me a little if there's a little bit of hiccup or technical issues. We will definitely iron it out together. Okay, so hi everyone, good morning. Wow, loving the energy here. Okay, I understand many of us are from Malaysia, Singapore. Anyone from Indonesia? Could you just drop in a chat because I couldn't hear you, I couldn't see you. So chat is pretty much something that I depend on. Like we depend on the chat together. So if there's anyone from Malaysia, please feel free to type on the chat. Say I'm from Malaysia. Anyone from Singapore, leave it in the chat. You're from Singapore, Vietnam, Thailand, Philippines, Indonesia. So I get a sense of where our joiners are today. Okay, from Malaysia, Joanne, Shahira, Muhammad. Oh, quite many from Malaysia. Yeah, I see. Okay, I'm waiting for people from Singapore. Okay, Mustafa, Ain, Karen, Nasir. Okay, anyone from Singapore, Indonesia, or other parts of. Hi, Bernard. Welcome, welcome. Okay, we have one from Indonesia. Hi, good morning. Okay, maybe just 1 or 2 minutes until everyone settled down, until everyone gets in. Then we will begin in about 2 minutes. 10:05. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Okay. So what happened is it was public holiday for people in Kuala Lumpur. So Malaysia actually had a long weekend. So how is it like coming back to work? Refresh. Wow. Recharge. That's nice. Okay. Okay, that's already a really, really good start of the week. Okay, Shahira feeling refresh, Carmen feeling recharged. Anyone else? Are there anyone from parts another state of Malaysia, Selangor? Did you guys have like a there's a Thaipusam holiday, right? Monday? Yeah. Okay. Still feeling okay, yeah? Not too tired yet. Okay. 1 more minute, then I will begin. Okay. Hello. Hi, Nafaport. Am I pronouncing it right? Hello, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining all the way from. Thank you. Thank you for joining all the way from Thailand, Indonesia, Singapore, Malaysia. Thank you for being here. Okay. Thank you for taking the time, to set aside time for this webinar. That shows your effort. Pasir Gudang. Wow. Hi, Sabrina. Okay. All right. Let's begin. Okay. So as you can see, today we are beginning with our February with how to perform better without overworking. Sounds like a great hack, right? How do we not uh, overwork but still being able to deliver? Sounds good, right? Good morning, Wai Leong. Okay. So a little bit about me. I believe this is the very first time that all of you seeing me. Okay, I'm Belle, feel free to call me Belle. I'm a licensed and registered counselor based in Malaysia. I worked in a medical health setting for a bit, and my work largely focused on neuroscience informed, trauma informed care, and also psychosocial support in chronic physical diseases, not just mental health. But my work now largely focuses on mental health. Okay. Next. So a little bit about how things are gonna go today. All right. We'll start by unpacking why being busy isn't the same as being productive. And then we'll look at a little bit about neuroscience. Don't worry, it's going to be very simple. It's not going to be heavy, like in a school. How energy, stress, and the brain shape our focus and decisions and our creativity. And from there, we'll slowly explore the chronic stress cycle and the common energy drains many of us might not even notice. And next, we'll look at our biological performance cycles, how our focuses rise and fall throughout the day. And also, finally, we'll land on practical daily energy management habits. All right. So, hopefully, we can be able to use a little bit of these techniques to manage our energy more sustainably, hopefully, to be able to ease our burnout a little bit. Right. And I understand this can be a lot. It can look a lot and it can look quite complex. But trust me, I try to make it as simple as I can. And if there is any question, please feel free to drop it at the chat. I will try my best to look at it and come back to it if I can look at some of your questions. If I skip some of your questions, please feel free to nudge it on the chat. Okay? All right. Okay, let's take a look at this image. So what can you see here? Is there a stark difference between the one on the left and the one on the right? All right. How does looking at these two splitting images feel like? So I would like all of you to drop it in the chat. Okay. Where are you currently? Okay, the one on the left, the one on the right side. Wow. Left, ever left, common on the right, in the middle. Wow, I love that nuance. Middle, that's so important to name that nuance. Ashley on the left, more to the left, middle, straight line in the middle, Fatah so far on the right. Okay, so people who probably coming back from the long weekend, the long holiday, feeling recharged, reset, probably feeling more to the right. And some who have started a week already or might have deadlines, um, might be on the left, sometimes right. Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you. Thank you for your response. Still on the left, Cairo. Need to know what happened, what's going on right now, and what's next. Wow. That's very insightful. Okay. Okay. So, how overworked do you feel this week? Okay, I just want to invite all of you to check in with yourself. Okay, just a quick sense of how you are feeling, right? Are you feeling energized, somewhat balanced, or running on empty? Okay, you can type in a chat if you want to, um, or you can just think about that in your head. All right, it's for yourself. Naming where you are right now is very important. Acknowledging the state that you are in. Okay. And with how you are feeling, whether you're overwhelmed, whether you're stressful, a little bit on the left, a little bit on the right, how productive do you feel with where you are currently? Okay, you can type it in the chat and let me know and share with everyone how productive are you feeling with the image on the left, image on the right. All right. What do you think of your productivity Nafa Porn said, I think I can control my plan. It's very good, but sometimes I worry about under control. Cannot touch my plan. That's a valid concern. Manageable. Wow. So we have really, really um, good workers here, very planning things very well, managing things really well, on track with what I planned. Wow. Okay, good plan, but I need to compromise on my. Yeah, it happens sometimes. Okay, but I just want to remind everyone here that doesn't matter if things go as planned or if things do not go as planned, productive or not. It depends on our own definition of being productive or not, right? What matters is every one of you showed up, and the fact that all of you, despite on the left, on the right, manageable or not, in the middle, you guys still set aside time to show up to work, show up for this webinar, and that's what matters actually. Always plan, but at the end feeling overworked. Okay, knowing that work unable to finish. Okay, all right, all right. What do you think about this? Busy is not equal to productive, or however you decipher it. Agree or don't agree? Agree. Carmen, agree. Yes. Nafa porn. Yes. Okay. 100% agree. Yep. Okay. I once heard this really, really wise statement uh, from a master coach saying, when everything is important, when everyone is busy all the time, nothing is important anymore. Right? It's funny to think, right? When every task, every job, right, every meeting is important, what is really important actually, right? How do we prioritize, right? How do we see the importance from so many important things? Okay, so it brings us back to this point. Being busy does not mean being productive. We can fill our day back to back with tasks, meetings, uh, nitty gritty task works, notifications, but it doesn't guarantee results. And all of you actually experience that, right? Productivity is about doing things right at the right time, not just doing everything, right? We are only human and we have our limitations in capacity, and we can't be doing everything. Our brain are not designed for that. Okay, our brain can do so much. Our brain is still an unfinished exploration by the neuroscientists. But what they can confirm is we can train our brain to be good at certain things, but not everything at once. Okay. And this is why focus and energy management matters. When we align our work with our natural focus and recovery cycles in within ourselves, we get more things done with lesser burnout. Okay, I'm not gonna uh, say that we are not gonna feel burnout 100%, right? I'm not gonna promise that. But how do we get more done with lesser burnout, right? Trying to balance the scale a little bit. So we often confuse being busy with being effective, but they are actually not the same. Okay, Jane here says busy doesn't mean can focus on multitask. Yep, that's true. Okay, and that can definitely affect our results and delivery. So take a look at this slide. Okay, anyone came across this graph or diminishing return before? Okay, I know we have a very well-informed participants here, very well-informed community, very smart, intelligent community here, very well-read, a lot, abundant of information on social media. So have you came across diminishing return? Right? So does working longer actually improve results? Okay, look at this graph here. Okay, time, performance. So research and experience show that there's a point where more effort gives less output. You see, when it reaches a stage of a lot of time spent, you see, it reaches a stage of plateau, right? A straight line. Yeah, the wall. Yes. Okay. We can push past it, but that's often where people start to feel all these little signs: exhaustion, frustration, right? Uh, Burnout, right? Even dreadful. So this phenomenon is called diminishing return. The more hours we add beyond our optimal energy and focus, the less effective we can become. All right, I'm not generalizing everyone, but many of us actually do experience this. And sometimes we might not even have the bandwidth to notice this because we have to push past it, right? And we have to repeat another day. So working longer doesn't automatically mean better performance. Instead, it can deplete our energy. All right, it's proven. So it reduces our creativity when our brain is tired, when we feel tired physically. Our body is very smart and very wise. It will start to slow down, right? So it will show up as impaired decision making. We can't focus, we can't do our work, we don't feel like doing it, right? So the key takeaway is sustainable productivity is not about longer hours. It's about how do we work smart, aligning tasks with our energy, knowing how our body works, and taking intentional breaks. Yeah? 10,000 hours equals to effective competence. Okay. All right. Okay. So look at this battery here. There's a battery, there's a clock. The clock represents time. Okay. Battery represents energy. All right. In previous slide, we saw that working longer hours eventually gives us diminishing returns. But here's a key insight. Maybe the problem isn't our time, isn't how much time we put in, how much effort we put in. It's about the energy reserve in our body. All right. And of course, time and energy, they are definitely correlated, interconnected, but the time is fixed. It's a constant. We all get 24 hours a day. We all need a definite amount of rest, definite amount to eat, to replenish, to refuel, to keep going. Energy, on the other hand, it fluctuates, right? Rising and falling throughout the day. And our performance depends far more on our energy availability than on the number of hours we put in. That's why you see, if you compare two people working the same 8 hour a day, you can see a quite a different result, right? Depending on the individual. Okay. So depending on how well that individual plan and manage their mental, physical, and emotional energy, right? So our job here today is to understand and working with this energy rhythm through strategic rest, micro breaks, task alignment, and how sustainable high performance can achieve. All right, we'll talk about that later. Okay. So building on the idea that performance depends on our energy, let's look at what happens when our energy drops. Even if we put in more hours, our thinking quality, focus, and creativity, they all definitely decline, right? And I'm sure everyone here experienced that, right? Tasks that once felt manageable suddenly becomes dreadful, overwhelming, and decisions take longer, right? Problem solving gets stuck. It takes longer time to finish our work. We don't even feel like working on it, right? We feel a sense of like mental fog. Anyone here experience mental fog often, right? Yet we push through, we persevere, right? Imagine trying to run on a car empty. The point is, hours alone does not protect our performance, right? Protecting and replenishing energy is what keeps our mind sharp, focus strong, and our creativity flowing. Energy is the actual engine of performance, right? Like what Anup says here, rest in between work can be refreshing, and with good concentration, we can complete tasks faster. You're right. Yeah. It seems like you are manipulating your energy really well, your rest. That's really good practice. Okay. So ever feel like our brain just can't catch up? Like we are staring at a screen and it's still kind of like loading, right? You know, I even for myself, I actually experienced staring at the screen, even preparing for this like this presentation. Sometimes I'm just staring 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and I'm still on the same spot. Yeah. I felt like my body is shutting down, but I'm still, my muscle memory is still sitting here, right? Yeah. So this can happen. Our cognitive system can go under strain, and when our energy go low, our focus drop, and it affects our work definitely. So simply put, we could be looking at any work Excel sheet presentation, right? Worksheet in a meeting. But if we don't feel our energy, if we are not there, we are gone. We are just barely existing, right? We are just like a zombie, right? And that's when our brain actually struggle, right? Okay, so let's take a quick look at this stress response. So I would like to know anyone here ever came across survival mode, survival instinct, fight, flight, freeze responses. So any of our participants? Yes, Sabrina, very nice. Okay, anyone else? Okay, Amira, of course, yes. Yes, so we have really well-informed participants here. Okay, okay. So this will be just a very quick one. All right. Take a look at our fight, flight, freeze responses. Okay. It's not necessarily we have just one. We can have a mix depending on who we are with, depending on the situation we are in. All right. Which explains why our brain sometimes locks up under stress. Right. Um, when we are in stress, right, we might experience fight. Okay. We feel reactive, we feel frustrated, we feel angry, we feel rage, right? We feel like we are ready to confront everything. Fight is not necessarily is a bad thing. If we are able to channel it appropriately and wisely, right? It can be actually an energy for us to propel us, to drive us moving forward. Yeah. And flight, okay, some people when they are in stress, when they are exhausted, you notice that find these people escaping, right? Escaping or avoiding the task or the situation. Okay. So freezing, our brain literally pause, right? Frozen. We can't make a decision even for simple things that we used to be able to do, right? And then we blame ourselves and question and doubt ourselves what's happening for us. Is there something wrong with me? Things like that. Okay. But it's actually a natural protective mechanism in our body. It's how our biology works. Our nervous system and brain, body and mind works hand in hand to always keep us in balance. All right. So these are very natural responses that we are experiencing. There's nothing wrong with us. There's nothing uh, weak or wrong. It's not a problem, but it's something that shows us a signal, a sign what we need. Okay. So it helps when we notice our energy is low, stress is high, noticing our patterns, right? It helps to apply small resets, breaks, or some strategies to try to get us out of this survival mode. Yeah. Okay. So look at this. Okay. When I first came across this, I'm like, wow. Okay, your mind and body can't tell the difference between a stack of emails and a tiger. Does that make any sense or not quite? Okay. So the reason behind is when we, okay, let's say we are uh, in the wild, right? We came across animals that we are not known of, right? It looks fierce. It looks like it's ready to eat and pounce. How would you imagine you would react at that situation, right? Some people would fight. Some people freeze, freaking out, right? Some people not moving, move slow, okay? And when we see a bunch of work, it actually hit the same spot in our brain that detects threat, right? It feels unsafe. It feels huge. It feels a lot. Yeah. So our brain does not have the filter to recognize or differentiate between a real threat or a bunch of paperwork. Yeah. So they actually stimulate the same thing. That's why it triggers our survival response. But of course, the intensity is a little different. Okay. All right. So short stress, normal stress, it helps us function. It helps us move forward, achieve. The problem is chronic work stress on the right. Constant alert, multitasking with no recovery, downtime, reset, breaks. It keeps our nervous system on overdrive, draining our energy and reducing performance over time. Yeah. Okay. So this is our beautiful uh, parts of our body, brain and nervous system. It's like the CPU of our body, right? So it's actually the biology and neuroscience at work. Our nervous system is wired to protect us, activating fight, flight, freeze response whenever it senses threat. In working modern life, the constant work, meetings, workload, it keep us on overdrive, even though sometimes we don't even feel it, because our body is doing really, really good in adapting. So sometimes we might not even feel it anymore, but we know that is how it is, right? That's just how things are. Okay, but it doesn't mean that our body does not experience the strain. Okay, our body is constantly taking the heat, trying to readjust, reach balance again, even though we don't feel it anymore, because we are capable of acclimatizing. Yeah. So our brain could be in a chronic state of alert, right? In red, signaling it needs help. Okay. So when we are doing too much, we could be in survival mode or autopilot. Okay. And also, just a quick one on this vicious cycle of chronic stress, right? When we are stressed up, okay, our hormone would release cortisol, stress hormones, right? And it fuels our whole body, right? And when we overwork, we work too much, right? The part of our body that produces energy, mitochondria in each of our cells, okay? Remember our science, biology, right? Our energy powerhouse house in our cells. They can go wear out, they can get exhausted, they can go damaged. So what happens when the powerhouse is damaged? That's when we feel sluggish, we feel tired, exhausted, okay, fatigue, and we start to feel brain fog, right? It couldn't do their oxygen exchange properly, okay? So we can't cope with work, right? And the cycle repeats itself again, okay? So if this continues unchecked, it's like a red alarm blaring in our system. Our body is sending urgent signals: fatigue, mental fog, irritability, burnout. And the danger is that most of us actually ignore these alarms, pushing through because we think that's what high performance looks like, right? Going to work, just pushing through, okay, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, go home, right? But are we really doing productive work there, right? So we can recognize the warning signs, right? The early first step: fatigue, focus issues, finding it hard to recall something. You can notice mood fluctuations, right? And sometimes it doesn't just affect our performance at work or how we show up at work. It does spill out in our daily life, daily functioning, our sleep, our appetite, and our relationship, right? How we show up in with our partner, how we show up with our family, how we show up with our kids, right? Anyone here is a parent, feel free to show up, type in the chat. Anyone here is a parent. It is, yeah, Carmen. Yeah, it's not easy to manage all this stress, and when we go home, uh, we might try to set a clear boundary, but sometimes we might not even feel it, and we just find ourselves snapping and lashing out, or feeling very frustrated, impatient, trying to get it all together. Yeah, things like that. So it's also a sign that our brain is overdriving, overload. Yeah. Okay. So when the red alarm is constantly blaring, it's not just emotion. It affects our physiological functioning, meaning it taps into our physical health as well, right? You notice palpitation, increased heart rate, elevated blood pressure, right? Expanded airway, we'll find ourselves breathing like very shallowly when we are stressful. Okay, very shallow, fast, a bit fast breathing, tercungap, you know. And also this could be also early signs of anxiety. Yeah. So essentially, our digestion, immune system, sleep, all can be disrupted hand in hand. Okay, not just our focus at work. Okay, all right. So far, is there any questions or any doubts, any burning questions? I will leave us 1 minute just to drop anything in the chat so that I can take a look at it before we hop on to how we can cultivate different techniques. Okay, any questions so far? Okay, I will proceed, yeah. Okay, so the big question is, how do we perform at our best? It's tricky to say how do we perform at our best, because everyone's best is different, right? So how can we be at our own best, defining by our own self, by our job requirement, without wearing ourselves out too much, right? Able to balance, take a break. How do we protect our health, our system, while still showing up? Okay. Okay. All right. I caught Nafa Porn has got a question. Sometimes we have a good plan, but I receive urgent work from my boss. How to deal with it? Okay, so what I'm hearing here is you already have your own plan, right? You lay things out for the day, for the time, but then it's like a hijack, right? It's like a hijack to what you have planned. So things go a bit chaotic, right? Unpredictability from your bosses. Yep, that's a good question. All right. Some of the techniques you can look at it later in what I'm gonna share in the following slides. Okay, enough of one. Okay. So, what is this button? Does anyone know what this button is? Yes. Pause. Very good. So we pause. Okay. I know it sounds simple, and when it matters, when it's time that we actually need pause, we might not be able or even forgot to take a pause. But let's not talk about that first. All right. That is something that we can work on with your coaches. Okay. So we pause. Okay. It's definitely not keep going or pushing harder, but to take a step back, take a pause strategically. All right. Knowing when to pause. Short pauses, we improve focus, memory, problem solving, and also regulation, right? It brings us out of what stimulates us at that moment. Okay. All right. Okay. So pit stop formula. When you see this picture, what does it remind you of? Anyone want to share? Okay. Think about a Formula One car. Did anyone watch Formula One racing here? Is this still the thing right now? Yeah. Okay. Okay. So Formula One car, it doesn't stay on the track nonstop, right? You see how fast it goes. Okay. The team schedules pit stops for fuel, tire changes, quick checks, so the car can perform at its best lap after lap, right? Even the fastest engines, right? We can say that's one of the fastest engine on earth. It can't run without scheduled pit stop. Our brain works the same way. Short walks, a chat, a short talk, a stretch, even grabbing a snack, are our micro pit stops. High performers, we don't avoid rest, we schedule it. It intentionally can help to sustain focus, energy, and happiness over the long run. Imagine if you walk over to your favorite colleague table, right? How do you feel after talking, right? And rest is when the brain consolidates all that you learn, all the insights that you have. Uh, it makes it easy for output when we have rest. Okay. Contrary to traditional belief, breaks are not a sign of laziness. Okay. They are performance optimization. Think about some of our colleagues, right, who walk around, who grab snacks, who chat briefly, who step away from their desk, right? Anyone have colleagues like that, or we are ourselves this kind of colleague, right? I myself, I'm one of these. I like to walk around, talk to people. Sometimes I don't go back to my work table until I feel satisfied. Okay, so whether intentional or not, we are actually taking micro breaks. Okay, and there is always a stigma of being perceived as snaking, right? Snaking, if anyone familiar with this term, curi tulang, right? Yet notice something interesting, that they are often not as stressful. They don't look as stressful. They probably don't feel as stressful, right? And they tend to last longer, stay more positive, and able to cope better and longer. They can go longer if you notice. Yeah. Okay. So here's another graph. Okay. So it's how our biological performance cycle look like uh, in accordance to our circadian rhythm. All right. Our energy follows biological rhythm, not motivation. Yeah. Okay. Abdul Rahim. Okay. Very good question. Then I regret on the break because my work. Okay. All right. Let's take a look at this. Hey, just like a Formula One car needs a pit stop to perform at its best, our brain need regular reset, actually. Right. You see, actually, kids, if anyone have nephews or anyone know kids, right, have their own kids, why kids are very hard to stay in a place? Why kids need to keep going, you see? And in the classroom, in the school, we are trained to sit up straight. not move from our desk, right? It's actually very hard for kids are actually very wise. They are still this unpolluted species by the social construct, by social expectations, social rules, right? They are very in touch with their body. They know what their body needs. So you see, they can't sit still, right? Tak boleh duduk diam. So you see, after time, even when they're watching TV, sitting and eating, right? They have to move their body in like Superman lah, Spider-Man lah, right? So this is actually they are moving naturally, right? Showing that their body needs movement. So that they are still doing what they're doing, they're still eating, they're still watching TV, they're still looking at the books, doing homework, but they need to move their body at the same time so that they can keep focus. You see? Yeah, betul tak? Okay, so it's same as us adults, right? We have been, so adaptive to the social rules, the adulting, right? The expectation, how we carry ourselves, how we conduct ourselves. And we forgot what is the essence, what really our body needs. Okay. So yeah, that's correct. Yeah. And also to highlight everyone works differently, their body. Okay. You're right, Anup. Okay, so research shows that our brain peak in alert late in the morning. Okay, you see this. It goes up. Okay, when we wake up, okay, our body becomes alert. Okay, that's the most productive hour, 6 to about 10. Okay, 6, 10, 11. Okay, so even if we don't have lunch, right, it doesn't affect actually. So a fun fact is we used to think like, oh, after lunchtime, right, we feel sleepy, right? That could be one of the reason, okay, because after food, our body relaxes, right? The relaxation part of our nervous system start digesting food. That is the one part of the nervous system lah. It digests food, so it relaxes. And another part is it is actually already inbuilt. That's how our body works. You see the dip there? It's after lunch. 10, 11, it starts to dip. 12 o'clock. 2 o'clock, you see, right? And we call it a classic afternoon slump, a quick and sudden drop in energy levels. It's part of our circadian rhythm, right? It doesn't matter the amount of food that we take sometimes, actually. So later in the afternoon, many of us experience another smaller dip, right? Where our focus, patience, and stamina would drop, right? I believe many of us actually notice here. So why does this happen? It's actually not random, right? Our biology has evolved years, decades, and it is in our DNA, right? From our ancestors, from our parents, grandparents. It has evolved to follow these rhythms. We wake up with the sun, right? That's why sun is also activating for our body. That's why when people say, okay, go and touch grass, go and, expose yourself to sun, okay? Take a walk, right? All these are activating our body. Our body is all senses, right? When we hit ourselves, we feel it, we feel pain, we feel touch. It's all senses. We're a whole bunch of sensory being, right? Just like a plant lah, right? A plant when it receives energy from the sun, you see what happens to the plant, right? It's the same. We are the same. Even from young, our environment reinforces this rhythm. Imagine how we are trained since we are young. School days start in the morning, most of us, right? Wind down by late afternoon. All right, wake up in the morning and then come home in the afternoon, right? In the late afternoon, evening. Over time, this pattern has been shaped by our biology and our environment. So these dips are not a problem, they are adaptive. And the concern is scheduling high demand work during low energy periods, right? So sometimes we just gotta continue work, okay, gotta keep going, gotta finish it. But those are the time that we are already preparing to turn off our system already, right? So high performing pattern, we don't want to fight our energy rhythm. Okay, we know how our energy is, how our body schedule is. We plan around it. Okay, The goal is to notice our pattern and work with them, right? Ever came across working against something, how successful it goes, right? And there's no one size fits all, only what works best for our system. So we need 8 hours Fiki. We need 8 hours sleep time to get recovery in a way. Yes, that's actually very, very important. We often hear, like from our parents as we get old, right? We sleep lesser and lesser, right? 4 hours, 6 hours. Sometimes we even wake up in the middle of the night, okay? But actually, we are capable of sleeping 8 hours. If we can't sleep 8 hours, maybe 6 to 8 hours consistently, right? What time for minimum to ideal recover? If 8 hours is very hard, let's start with 6 hours first. Okay, we start small, we start with what we can work with first. Okay, we don't want to force ourselves to do 8 hours or 10 hours if our body can't. Okay, because sometimes we have concerns, worries, right? We have things to do, we have house to take care, right? We have children to take care, waking up in the middle of night, right? So these are the things that we can't control. We can't have full control, but we can try to start small. What's important is you are aware of it, and then you are mindful in practicing it, making it consistent. All right, okay. All right, very good. A lot of questions coming. Okay, looking at this, okay, what is this? So once we understand our energy rhythm, the next question is, do we work with it or against it, right? Imagine an archer shooting with poor alignment, okay? No matter how many times we shoot, right? I'm a terrible shooter, right? I play with my kids. I played with my kid archery just a few days ago. Wow. All right. Very bad alignment, right? Not trained, right? And I use up my energy. I feel drained, I feel tired, but I still can't hit the point, the bullseye. Okay. We can pull harder, we can pull longer, aim longer, and use more effort, but the arrow still misses the target. Alignment matters more than force. Okay. When our energy is high, that's when our brain is best for thinking, planning, and problem solving. Okay. When our energy is low, that's when we can put in our routine or administrative tasks that fit better. Those the mundane one, uh, those that we can do without our eyes open kind of work, right? So working with our energy flow reduces effort and improve result. Okay, so better alignment doesn't mean less work. It means better aim, right? With purpose. Okay. Okay. All right. So another emphasis of alignment more than discipline. Okay. So I'm sure we are all share the similar education system, parenting style, uh, same things that are being imposed and taught to us, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. If there's any exception, please put it in the chat. Okay. So many talks about motivation, right? There was a time motivation was huge, right? Motivational speaking, motivational, how to improve our motivation, willpower, perseverance. Okay. But it doesn't go long. Motivation, willpower, they all needs strength. They all needs energy. They are not long lasting. Okay. Some people, we wait for motivation to come and it never comes. The motivation will not come and find us. Okay. We have to find the motivation. We have to take action. Okay. So what we possibly really need is probably better structure. Okay. So when our actions are aligned with our energy goals, purpose, our growth can feel natural. Okay. Have any one of you felt any situation before that when you are clear of your goal, okay, when you are clear of how you know how to do that, right? Knowing that, having that energy that, okay, I'm going to start this today and work towards it. How different does that feel, right? Compared to the plateau state, compared to when it's a afternoon slump, right? Discipline alone demands constant effort and willpower. So all these are equally important, they equally matters, but we don't want to put focus on just one. They all work hand in hand. Okay. If we have all a little bit of all, that is enough to propel us to move just one step. All right. So alignment turns struggle into flow, just like the archer, right? And we're going to feel like we're moving forward rather than constantly pushing ourselves uphill. And I know many of us feel defeated by just trying to be disciplined or consistent. That's normal. It can be really hard to be disciplined, right? Sometimes people keep talking about the word discipline, discipline, discipline. And how does discipline looks like, right? It's such a huge word actually, with so many small actions to be able to call discipline. We need so many small actions that put forth to work towards that. Okay, so when alignment meets discipline habits, our results and performance can improve, hopefully with less friction, stress, burnout. Okay, okay, all right. So car, okay, breaking down, right? Engine heated up. Okay, many Malaysian, Singaporean here, and also Indonesian. I'm sure most of you heard about Genting, right? Genting Highland, kan? So I still remember, wow, last time when my parents drive me on a Proton Saga or Proton Vira, wow, my parents didn't take a stop, and they go up the old road. And you know what happened? Every time they have to stop at the side, and then the engine heated up, and then that smell. So when we keep pushing through, it actually accumulates fatigue, just like overheated engine. Going uphill, pushing through, engine definitely couldn't take it. So when we ignore, it's the same as us human. When we ignore our biology, our energy pattern, and just pushing through, it's just like driving an engine uphill without a pit stop. We feel the strain, we feel the heat, we feel the mental fog, right? That sense of burning out. We've all experienced it, powering through a tough project, skipping lunch, back-to-back meetings, only to feel drained at the end of the day, right? And not feeling fulfilled. Okay. Discipline equals to do follow plan, even do not want to do. Yeah. Yep. You can put it that way as well. Okay. What's interesting is discipline can mean different things for people because different people have different action plan, different small steps. So when you mention follow the plan, meaning that you can have your plan, okay, even though there is hijack, even though there is something interrupting it, what is the next step, the next small step that you can do that put you back to that path? It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to be looking alike like what you plan. But what is the next small step that you can put yourself back to the track? Yeah, because when you do it and that small step is successful, and it gonna trigger that sense of dopamine, that sense of satisfaction in you to keep going. It's just like depositing little good feeling in you, put it back inside, and then start accumulating it. So they all go hand in hand. All right. Okay. So here are the common hidden energy drains. A quick one just to help us identify it. Sometimes multitasking is good, but when it's too much, it can get chaotic. Okay, context switching, constant multitasking, reactive work, because when priorities are not clear. I think that is somewhat aligned to what Napaforn asking, right? Saying yes to everything without boundaries, right? When our boss asks us to do something in the middle of our busy plan, okay? So do we say yes or say no, or how do we respond to our boss? We can't say no, right? Okay. So, but how do we say no skillfully? Okay. So we'll look into that later. So skipping breaks, skipping meals, okay, or just sitting on the desk, we need movement. Okay, we need movement as well. So when all this pile up into our system is a stress. Okay. So the fix, okay, small intentional actions. Make it small as you can. Okay. Align tasks to your energy's peak, high focus work in high energy period. Okay. All right. Okay, let's look into this. All right. So here is the workplace expectation, right? 9 to 5 or 9 to 6. Then we have a lunchtime. Okay. We are expected to perform, to work, right? To work in the office. Okay. But look at our circadian rhythm. Okay. So comparing this, if you like, you can take a screenshot or take a picture of this. You can plan accordingly. Agak-agak lah. Okay. So we work with our brain cycle, not against it, right? How it rises, how it falls. And it doesn't have to be long, brief enough, 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes will be good, right? To recharge. And many of us actually don't have the freedom, right, to do this. And we ignore this sometimes. Empowering through from 9 to 5, it's how fatigue can build up in us and performance drop, right? And instead, try to align this to this cycle, okay? When it's a high energy period, we can do more important tasks, more strenuous tasks, more tasks that requires problem solving, harder things, right? Okay. So we can follow the 90-20 minutes. So we work 90 minutes and then we take breaks every 20 to 30 minutes, depending on how much time you have. Okay. Okay. All right. Here's what I want you to look at. So once we understand our cycle, we know when is our high energy peak, low energy time. Okay. So we tackle our most demanding tasks. Look at the one on the left, right? Brainstorming stuff, planning stuff, problem solving stuff. All right. And when our energy dips, shift to routine, administrative, low focus tasks. All right. Those repetitive tasks. Okay. Those that doesn't require too much of brain energy. All right. So once our peak focus end, all right, it's time for a reset. During the reset, what can we do? Okay. What, okay. I remember some of our participants actually did a break, right? Walking around and then feeling a bit guilty for not doing the work, right? After coming back. So would you like to share what you would most probably do during the break? Okay, you can share it in the chat. All right, or anyone who does take a break, even small, unnoticed one. Now you can try to think what some of you actually are doing it already. You are actually taking your break and doing things unconsciously. How about when doing self-learning online? Is it high energy task or low energy task? It depends on the kind of self-learning. All right. So some training can be quite intense, depending on the speaker, depending on the material, depending on the topic, depending on your learning style. Okay. So if you feel like that is a topic that is very important, that is huge for you, that is something that you need to learn from ground zero, that probably could be a high energy task. Okay. If something that you already know is just a recap, or you feel like, oh, this is a fun session, that could be actually like middle to low, and it could actually bring your energy back up if that is a very fun session. Yeah. Okay. Napapon, you walk, Carmen drinks, Alvin stare at the wall. What would come up when you stare at the wall, Alvin? Jane, eating something that could makes you feel happy. Yes, definitely. What do you eat? Okay. Toilet break. Yes, that's so important, right? Fulfilling the need of our biological need. That is really, really important. Toilet break. Pudding or chocolate. Yes. Oh, that tastes so good. Shahira, stretching, walking. Yeah, that's very mindful activity actually. Okay, this unintentional thing that we have already been doing. Actually, many of us are already doing it. It's just that we don't name it. We are not aware of it, right? Refill my water bottle. Yes, that is also, you see, you stand up, you're already starting moving, right? You're already taking in a little bit more oxygen than you realize. Okay, you're already recharging already. You movement, you walk from your desk. Okay, you walk towards it. You refill the water. When you hear the water sound, you walk past people. That is all a reset of your sensory stimulation. Small talk with colleague. Yes, that's very important. Small chatting, right? When we interact with people, when we have human interaction, it meaning it's connection, right? When we talk to supportive, kind colleague that our favorite, right? We always those that we hang out with, it's a form of recharge, right? Because our connection beat is fulfilled, right? We got the attention, right? We got the emotional acknowledgement. Yeah, all these are actually small things that are very important. Stare at the wall until work seems more. How likely does it happen, Alvin? Does it help? Make it more exciting? As long as rewarding ourselves after work can help. Yes. Yes. What you're doing here, Jane, is actually a form of uh, putting something at the end that you look forward to. So you are also aiming the alignment, you see? You are aiming that alignment, that archery. So you put your bullseye as something rewarding. So it's something that you are working towards. You're already doing it, Jane. Yeah. Gossip a bit with other people. Yeah. That's so important to keep us informed on what's happening in the office. Yeah. Working out at gym. Ay, okay, working out at gym during lunch to boost my energy. Okay. Wow. It's really, I'm really glad that you have this time to be able to work out at gym. That sounds like a really great office. Or do you work from home during lunch to boost my energy? Yeah. Wow. Sounds nice. Okay. Oh, I noticed that I'm taking more than the time that we allocated. If you need to go, please feel free to go. If you would be able to stay, please feel free to stay as well. I really want to um, share with you what I have here. Okay. I'm sure my colleague would be sending the resources and the slides to you after that if you have something else to catch. Okay. All right. Okay. So we can do deep breathing. Okay. All right. Thank you, Shahira, for staying. Okay. We can do deep breathing to calm our nervous system. Remember 478. Okay. You breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it for 7, and release it. Exhale as long as you can, more than 8 seconds. It might be a little bit tricky for some to begin with, but it's a muscle that you can train. All right. So just repeat 478 breathing, and you would notice that when you exhale longer, your parasympathetic nervous system, which is the part that helps us relax, it will be activated by breathing itself. Okay, so repeat that and try to notice what's happening in your body. All right, stretch or move, quick walk around the office, hydrate yourself, grab a snack to refuel. All right, step away from screens if you can, right, to rest your eyes and mind. Okay, these small pauses that all of you are already doing, they are actually part of what fueling your day. Okay, it's your brain's pit stop. Okay. Okay. All right. I'm gonna go a little bit quick Okay, due to time. Okay, boundaries. Okay, how does the sound of boundaries sound like? In a lot of culture, boundaries can be a little bit tricky, right? Boundaries. Okay. So setting boundaries are not about rejection, depending on how we do it. Okay. It's about sustainability and clear communication and expectation. Okay. It can protect our high focus time. Okay. And imagine what happens, when that tricky spot, that tricky feeling where, oh, we are still on so much of things, and then there's new thing coming in, and then your boss say that want this, that want that, they need that. Okay, so how does saying yes makes us feel? How is it costing us? Okay, we can say yes skillfully. I know it's very challenging for many of us. All right, even for myself, saying no is hard. Okay, yeah, I'm sure that's something that we can work together, Jason. We can work towards. Uh, we'll talk about that later. Okay, so saying yes with conditions. How do we say yes? Okay, how do we say yes? Okay, we can say yes. Okay, these are just a few examples. Once you get a hang of it, you can tweak it into your own language, into your own pattern, into your own words, own style and sentiment. Okay, yes, I can take that on, and I will need to adjust my other deadline to make space for it. Okay, or you can say, yes, I'm happy to help. Okay, after I'm done with etc. etc. Okay, or yes, I can attend that if we can keep it to 30 minutes. Okay, negotiating. All right, so it looks simple, it looks short, it looks um, simple, but actually the long-term effect is huge. I always set boundaries when offering my assistance to coordinate to protect. So I reply, sorry, can't help you. Yep. Okay. That's amazing. Actually, it takes courage to actually set boundary, to say no, to say I can't help you, right? Is it wrong if we say no? Mm, it depends. Okay. I would always say that it's no right or wrong, but what is the priority? If it's work based, we can look at what is the priority. Okay, we can also offer and say things like, okay, yes, I can help you, but after I'm done with this, or I can only help you with this section, this chunk, things like that. Or there are things that I am not good at. Maybe someone else have a better resource, or someone will be of better help for that. Okay, all right. So restoration isn't only rest. Sometimes it's clarity. All right, is the meaning we put to it. Okay, the key is noticing what restores us, not what looks productive on the side outside. Okay, so we sometimes we are too focused on trying to be productive, want to be productive, want to look productive, want to look like we are doing work. Okay, afraid of how we are being seen, right? But actually, are we really being productive inside? Okay, so that is also a little struggle there, right? So what actually restores us? It's not about lying down or sleeping, right? It's a moment, a small moment of clarity, small moment of break, a sense of purpose, or doing something that align with our values, right? So like what we say, it could be doing our reset, moving our body, right? Taking a few breaths, connecting with people, right? The key is to notice what really replenishes our energy and focus. All right. And over time, when we practice this enough, identifying what nourishes us, allows us to fill up our energy more intentionally instead of waiting until we are stretched thin. All right. Okay. So here's a little bit that you can probably feel free to try out. Okay. You can do your weekly energy review. If you want to do it daily, even better. Okay. But should be enough if you want to review your how your energy distributes over the week at the end of the week. All right, not just looking at our tasks, not just what we completed, but how we are doing, right? Internal locus, how we are doing, right? You can check in physically, how rested and physically capable did I feel about myself this week, okay? Put it on a score 1 to 10. 1 is the least, 10 is the most, okay? So try to think about, identify your concerns. What is affecting my capability? What is affecting my rest here? What do I need more? Okay, so mentally, how focused and productive, right? So what what is it that could be helpful for you? Emotionally, do I feel connected or balanced or stress, exhausted, rage, frustration? You can all lay this down on the concerns, and then with that you can start working towards. You can also get in touch with your coach on the Naluri app. If you haven't downloaded it or haven't started connecting with your coach, you can actually start talking to them about how to work on this. Okay, and did your actions align with what matters to you? Okay, is this what you like? All right, is this what you want to achieve? Things like that. Okay, all right, you can also check your battery. Okay, a guide on how to review your energy. I believe the slides will be sent to all of you who are participating. All right. Okay, great energy, good energy, okay, struggling, empty, right? Different spectrum. Okay, so there are prompts here that you can look into it. uh, okay, I'm just gonna go quick. All right. Okay, so once you review your energy, something powerful actually happen inside. We might not be able to see it outside yet, but our nervous system, our brain, they are made of so many neurons that are capable of regeneration, rewiring. Okay, and it takes just one small step to build towards bigger outcome. Okay, awareness itself creates choice. What's awareness? Awareness is like ding, you see, it's like a light bulb. Our brain, our neurons are lighted up, right? It senses and receive different kind of stimulation, right? So when we have awareness, our brain automatically can start to build a different path, different neuron pathway, okay? And it creates choice. Our brain are always communicating with each other. Different parts of our brain do different things. Decision making, analytical part of our brain, problem solving part. So they'll start communicating with each other once it's brought to awareness. Okay? And the problem solving will come follow through after that. All right. So simply noticing where your energy is high or low, what drains or restores you, what changes your behavior. Okay. And the light bulb moment, okay, is the first step towards smarter, wiser decision, more productive work. Okay. So start choosing your tasks that match your energy, scheduling breaks intentionally, protecting your focus time, boundary. Boundary is not bad. Okay, it protects us, but how we set it. All right, that is another broad topic. Hopefully, we can look forward to such topic together in the future, or you can definitely approach your coach on the Naluri app. Okay, in other words, you don't need more willpower actually. Okay, we need to see clearly where our energy is and our action to align with it, and the willpower will come when we get a sense of how good it feels to be able to achieve that one small step. Okay. Okay, one small shift this week. Sustainable change starts small. All right, so that's what I mentioned. Starts small. Sustainable energy doesn't happen overnight. It starts with one small shift today or this week. Okay, think of it like climbing a staircase. Each small step builds a momentum. Over time, these tiny shifts they add up to bigger things, right? Remember, the goal is not perfection. It's progress in the right direction consistently. Yeah? Okay. So this rock, building this rock brings a very big, larger contextual meaning actually. All right. True performance happens when we are supported with a strong, firm foundation, right? Our energy, how we feel where we are, is our foundation. Okay, like these stacked rocks, when each element is in balance, the whole system becomes stronger and more resilient. When the one at the bottom wobbly, it will never be able to be stacked up, right? So again, small consistent habit create a support system, right? When you have a firm pattern, firm structure, things will fall through. Okay. And that's how sustainable high performance can look like over time. All right. It is not instant. Okay. So instead of pushing through our fatigue, relying on willpower, motivation that never knock on our door, never come and find us, build our own system. Okay. Take our own initiative, take ownership, support our energy, and let performance flow naturally. Okay. So here's what I come across, creator of this time management thing. You can do anything, but not everything, right? Okay, that's all for today from me. Thank you everyone for taking the time. We've been overshot for 20 minutes, but thank you so much. Thank you everyone. Uh, this recording will most likely be shared. And also, there will be um, a challenge. Okay. Okay. So, if you still have time, there's this focus formula challenge. Okay. Uh, feel free to join it. Scan the QR code here on the slide to get started. Okay, you will be able to win a Sony headphone worth 250 US dollar. Wow, that's a steal. Okay, join this challenge and you will be uh, one of the participants that probably be able to win this Sony headphone. Okay, thank you very much. Thank you, everyone. Okay.